I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes, so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler Sports and this is the Sport Report.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports. Welcome to a special edition of this all crazy sports newscast.
Broadcasting from somewhere in the United States.
Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Saturday, July 27th, 2019. Hey everybody, I'm Jack Esper, the all-sports correspondent for this podcast, and this is the Sport Report. Last time we heard from Chandler, we said that he was in Cincinnati. Well, tonight, he has apparently moved up from Cincinnati and is heading his way over into the Motor City. We'll hear more about him tomorrow, but for right now, we got a big story coming up here in Top of the Order, so let's get right into it.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
This is Top of the Order. Our top story comes from Le Tour de France. Yes, Le Tour de France. This was a big announcement, and we have our correspondent, Tyler Corbo, here with us to tell us all about it.
Chaos in Stage 19 leads to the postponement of a stage on the top of the Col d'Iseran, which is the highest point in this year's tour at 9,090 feet. The reason for the postponement is because on the descent, there was a hailstorm that would have prohibited riders from safely descending. Race organizers made the executive decision to stop the stage and take times at the top of the HC climb. The problem with this is that it changed the entire race. 3 stages from now, the end, the yellow jersey now changed hands. It is now Colombian riders Egan Bernal's jersey to wear, leading former yellow jersey leader Alaphilippe by 48 seconds. They had not stopped the race, which they almost never do. Alaphilippe may hold Le Maillot Jaune. He doesn't, and Bernal now has a jersey and could hold it on the race into Paris coming Sunday. The tour hasn't been stopped since 1996, when snow stopped a stage atop of the same climb as yesterday's stage. This has been one of the most competitive tours in ages, and now 30 years on from a competitive finish in Paris, when Greg LeMond won the tour by 8 seconds on the final day time trial, riding the fastest time trial by average speed in tour history in Paris. The ceremonial finish might not happen, as there are 3 riders in the hunt for the yellow jersey, but Bernal's teammate Thomas, who won this last year, says he'll help his younger teammate become the first Colombian rider to win Le Tour. I'll be back on Monday from Paris for an update on the final stages over the weekend. One final note before I go. Even in 2019, organizers used stopwatches to calculate times. It took them 3 hours to do the official standings, but they wanted to make sure they got it right. Jack, back to you.
Thank you, Tyler, for that huge announcement. Stage 20 will begin in Albertsville, and you can find that on NBCSN at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, now that Major League Soccer is in full swing, I think it's time we start giving you regular updates on what's been happening. So this is Major League Soccer. There were only 2 matches scheduled for last night's schedule, so let's get right into them. New York City Football Club 3, Sporting Kansas City 1. In the 41st minute, Anton Tinnerholm scored the first shot for New York City. Then in the 54th minute, Heber scores another goal. Then finally, in the 72nd minute, Sporting Kansas City finally scores a goal as Illy Sanchez heads it into the back corner. But New York City isn't done, as Alexander Ring hit a left-footed shot onto the outside of the box into the bottom corner. In the other game that was scheduled, LAFC barely wins 4-3 over Atlanta United. This game was very close, as in the first minute of play, Atlanta United gets a free kick and scores off of that attempt by Mohamed Adams, who hits a right-footed shot into the back right corner. LAFC responds to this in the 32nd minute as Adama Diomande hits a right-footed shot from the right side of the box into the bottom right corner. Then, in the 37th minute, Diego Rossi for LAFC scores a left-footed shot into the center of the goal to make the lead 2-1. Then, in the 41st minute, LAFC gets a penalty after Franco Escobar for Atlanta drew up a foul in the penalty area. Carlos Villa places the penalty in the bottom right corner of the goal to make it 3-1. Then, following that, right before halftime in the 44th minute, LAFC scores another goal by Eduardo Tusta, who shot the ball with his left foot in the center of the box into the bottom right corner. Then, right before halftime, Atlanta United gets a goal by Joseph Martinez, who scores a goal out of reach for the goalkeeper. Atlanta FC would get another goal in the 50th minute as Eddie Segura for LAFC scores an own goal on a passing attempt. The game, however, does not move with any more goals, and LAFC eventually gets the win. Now that we've covered one field with one type of ball, let's head over to the other field with the other type of ball that also happened last night.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone!
And Carlton Fisk had a lot of little boy in him right there.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Touch 'em all, Joe. Home run! Mike Piazza! Jeter backhands from the outfield grass. Got it! Man, what a play!
Now from Major League Baseball.
There were many historical events that happened last night, so let's get right into them with all of the games that were played out. Atlanta Braves 9, Philadelphia Phillies 2. The Braves scored 8 runs in 2 innings to hold their lead over the Phillies. Acuna, McCann, and Albies all played a huge role in making these scoring plays. Sean Newcomb has a 2.12 ERA now for the season with the Atlanta Braves. His record moves up to 4-1. Jake Arrieta's record now is lowered to 8-8 for the Philadelphia Phillies. Baltimore Orioles 9, LA Angels 3. There was an error that I mentioned last night in covering the baseball game between these two teams. There was actually 16 innings of playing time instead of 15. And I also wanted to confirm about last night's pitching change for the Orioles. And yes, it was confirmed that left fielder Stevie Wilkerson came in last minute for the Orioles to close out the game and get the save. He is the second ever position player to ever get a save in the last 50 years. The only other time this happened was with the same team and with Wilkerson's teammate Chris Davis, who got the save against the Red Sox in 2012. Colorado Rockies 12, Cincinnati Reds 2. The Rockies scored 6 runs late in the top of the ninth to make sure that they came out on top of the Reds. Herman Marquez is now 10-5 for the Rockies. Luis Castillo has a 2.71 ERA for the Reds now. He drops to 9-4. Seattle Mariners 3, Detroit Tigers 2. Mariners center fielder Malik Smith hits a walk-off single to beat the Tigers in Seattle. St. Louis Cardinals 5, Houston Astros 3. Paul Goldschmidt hits a go-ahead 3-run slam for the Cardinals against the Astros. That hit ultimately ends the game late in the 8th inning after the opposing team could not put the bat on the ball. LA Dodgers 4, Washington Nationals 2. Trey Turner also hit a go-ahead 3-run slam for the Dodgers in the top of the 8th to extend their lead and eventually triumph over the Nationals. Minnesota Twins 6, Chicago White Sox 2. The Twins have now become the fastest team in Major League Baseball to reach 200 home runs ever in history. Max Kepler makes this happen last night as he cranks a 3-run shot to right field in the top of the 2nd. Boston Red Sox 10, New York Yankees 5. The Red Sox also broke history tonight as they achieved the longest streak with 8+ runs scored in the past 5 games. This is also the longest streak for the Red Sox in this series. New York Mets 6, Pittsburgh Pirates 3. Both Fraziers for both teams, Todd Frazier for the Mets and Adam Frazier for the Pirates, both hit home runs tonight. But the Mets ultimately won the slugging contest as Pete Alonso and Wilson Ramos join in on the fun to beat Pittsburgh. San Francisco Giants 2, San Diego Padres 1 in 11 innings. Between the two teams tonight, this game was pretty even. That is, until third baseman Pablo Sandoval showed up for the Giants and launches a go-ahead homer to get the win against the Padres. Tampa Bay Rays 3, Toronto Blue Jays 1. Early on in this game, Freddie Galvis for the Blue Jays hit a ground rule triple after Rays left fielder Tommy Pham deflected the ground ball off of his glove into the stands. This call, however, was looked at by the umpires and eventually was overturned into a ground rule double. Then, with base runners on second and third with 2 outs, Danny Jansen pops up into center. This costed the game for the Blue Jays as the Rays come back from this and ended up scoring 2 more runs to win the game. Miami Marlins 3, Arizona Diamondbacks 2. The Miami Marlins battle back in the bottom of the 9th to score 2 runs and overtake the D-backs by storm. Milwaukee Brewers 3, Chicago Cubs 2. Adrian Hauser has a 4.19 ERA for the Milwaukee Brewers this season. He pushes his record to 4-4 for the Brewers. Cleveland Indians 8, Kansas City Royals 3. Zach Plesac now has a 3.1 ERA for the Indians. Jacob Junis falls now to 6-9 for the Kansas City Royals. And finally, Texas Rangers 5, Oakland Athletics 2. Lance Lynn now has a 3.83 ERA for the Rangers this season. He is 13-6. Daniel Mengden now drops to 5-2 for the Oakland Athletics. That is the Sport Report for Saturday, July 27th, 2019. For now, I'm Jack. Do you want to contact Chandler with sports? Have thoughts on sports or questions about advertising on the Sport Report? Find us on Twitter or Instagram at SportReportCWS for either social media site.
This podcast is copyrighted by The Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Channel One Sports is strictly prohibited.